Hi everybody, Mark Moorhead here, Curator of Education at the Hall of Flame Museum of Firefighting here in Phoenix, Arizona, where if you can't come in and see our museum, we'll bring the museum to you. And we're going to do that today here in one of my favorite parts of the museum, Gallery 1, and it's with probably my favorite piece in the whole collection of the Hall of Flame. This is a hand pumper from the city of Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It was actually built in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1844. But it was built for the Pawtucket Veterans, which was a volunteer fire brigade in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And what I love about this thing, aside from the fact that it was a very powerful fire engine, is that it's also kind of a rolling work of art. It's very elegant, very beautiful, and you find that that's true a lot of 19th century firefighters. They didn't just want to get to the fire, they wanted to look good getting there. And there's still a streak of that with firefighters to this day. But with this piece, they really kind of outdid themselves. This was made by a company called the Joel Bates Firm in Philadelphia, and then it was customized by a company called Jeffers for the Pawtucket department. And it's very elaborate and very flamboyant and very theatrical, but it still works on that same basic principle as the hand pumpers. You see these V-shaped wooden things? These are the handles, the pump handles, and there's two pair of them on each side, on this side as well. Right now they're folded up. This is how she would have sat in the fire station or while they're pulling her down the streets. When they get to the fire, they fold these handles down and they lay out horizontally. And you fold these platforms down, and they lay out horizontally. And then you got a crew of guys, probably 12, up on this platform, standing up here, 13 down on the ground. The ones up here are working with this set of handles. The ones down there are working that set of handles. Same on this side. One's up on the platform working this set of handles, one's down on the ground working on that set of handles. So probably 12 up on the platform, 13 down on the ground. So 50 guys each side. Or excuse me, 25 guys each side, 50 in all. And the action on this is like this. You have to imagine the handles folded down. This is how it goes up and down, okay? Now, I can move it, not because, you know, I'm the Incredible Hulk, but because there's no water going through it. If there was water going through it, then I wouldn't be able to budge it. I would need those other 49 guys to have a prayer of moving the thing. In action, there would be a little hose over on the other side that went out to probably a portable wooden fire hydrant that you brought with you. You hook it up to that, and that's your draft hose. And then out here is the hose you point at the fire, your play hose or your discharge hose. That's what you're pointing at the fire. And with all those guys, all those hands working the handles, you get a lot of water. You get about 250 gallons of water a minute. So you could really kind of sock a fire in the nose with this thing. Trouble is, of course, after 15-20 minutes of pumping up and down on those handles, what happens? You're tired. So you can barely lift your arms over your head. So ideally, you needed a second crew of about 25 guys a side, about 50 guys, to work that for the next 15-20 minutes or so, and spell the first crew out. So to run this one piece of equipment for any serious length of time, you needed about 100 guys. And that should answer the question if you ever wondered why firefighting had to be a volunteer thing for so long, and with all the problems that it sometimes created having these volunteer organizations in big cities like New York or Boston or whatever. That's because of the numbers it took. Big numbers of people to work these crews. You needed about 100 guys just to work this one. You can't put all those guys on the city payroll. So it wasn't until they invented another technological big breakthrough innovation that they were able to get those crews down enough to where in the big cities they could have a professional fire service. But that's a story for another day. What I want to talk to you about this is, in addition to it being a terrific, powerful piece of firefighting equipment, it's also a work of art. It's covered, got the very elegant, ornate, kind of 19th century design. It's also covered with these murals. And here at the Hall of Flame, when this piece came into the museum many years ago, long before I was working here, as I understand it, it was just covered with white paint. And our restorer, a man named Don Hale, he painstakingly removed all that paint and lacquer, and he found these murals underneath that white paint. And they're interesting images. We believe this is Rebecca at the well from the Old Testament. On the other side, we have Saint Euphemia, who in the Orthodox Catholic Church was thrown into the fire by the Romans and supposedly emerged unscathed, so she has a lot of appeal for firefighters. This is the Great Seal of the state of Rhode Island with the word hope on it. And on the other side here is a Native American sachem or chief from what's now Massachusetts, King Philip from the 1600s. So it was religious imagery, it was water imagery, it was patriotic imagery, just stuff that had meaning for people in that part of the country. But what it shows you about firefighting is, especially American firefighters, they loved having fancy, beautiful, elegant stuff, and they would compete with other fire companies around the city or in the neighboring towns or wherever it was. And of course, in a slightly more restrained way, you see this among fire companies to this day. They're still very competitive, and they have that friendly rivalry. Now it's mostly a friendly rivalry. Back in those days, it wasn't always so friendly. And it very definitely informs the design of firefighting equipment. You see that it isn't just designed to be functional. It's designed to be beautiful. That's especially true of American firefighting. All right, so this is Mark with the Hall of Flame. Hope you check back with us, and we'll talk about another one very soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.